Why do children make overextension errors, where they call anything that's round a moon, and underextension errors, where they fail to extend the family pet, known as a dog, to other dogs they see? One view is that children understand that words point to things. They understand how reference works, but they make overextensions because they have such a limited vocabulary, and they just want to get in the game. So even though they know that moon only refers to that thing in the sky at night, they want to be able to talk about the cricket ball, the light bulb, and the circle. So they overextend the word moon as a placeholder until they actually learn the words for those things. Now that's a nice explanation, but it doesn't explain underextensions. The other view is that up to about 18 months, when children have learned around 50 to 75 words, they don't actually understand how language works. They don't yet understand that words refer to individual things. So they haven't really worked out the problem of reference. They make these overextension and underextension errors because they're still working out exactly how the whole thing is supposed to be managed. From around 18 to around 24 months, when they've got a critical mass of beyond 50 to 75 words in their vocabularies, then it makes sense to them. Now that view is supported by the fact that at around the same time that they stop making overextension and underextension errors, they go through this thing known as the naming explosion. This is where basically they just go crazy and start picking up around 9 words a day, which is an awful lot of language learning. Babies at this age love to play this game.
What's that?
That's a tool.
What's that?
That's a tape measure.
What's that?
That's a big expanding ball.
They'll play and play and play the what's that game as though they've worked it out. Look, everything has a name here. I'm just going to get my mom to tell me all of them. That's a possibility. That's a nurture view, as you might imagine. The child has learned how language works, solves the problem of reference to a certain extent in terms of, okay, I just have to work out what the word refers to in all these cases. Then they just go about their business once they get to that point of learning. The alternative view, though, is that this explosion of learning 9 words a day from the time you're 18 months old to 6 years has just got to be biologically based. It's just such a phenomenal growth rate that at 18 months, maybe there's just something happening in the brain that turns their mind into sponges and they start learning language as a result of that. There's still a fair bit of debate about which is the correct answer. What's the best model for understanding the naming explosion? Now, by the time children are around 6 years old, most have somewhere between 12,000 and 14,000 words in their vocabularies. As adults, we have about 25,000 words in ours. So at 18 months, we've got a naming explosion. Children go from a slow buildup of 50 to 75 words to 9 words a day, playing the what's that game, and also they start combining words. Now this changes things completely. You go from just pointing and naming to putting words together. This gives you a tremendous amount of power. It's striking that children make very few word order errors. Word order is grammar, basically. They make very, very few errors. From the beginning, they know the difference between Teddy eat and eat Teddy. Teddy eat means we sit Teddy in a high chair and we feed him with a spoon. Eat Teddy means we put him on a carving board and we cut him up. Children don't mix those two things up. They know from very early on. This is sometimes known as telegraphic speech, this 2- and 3-word stage. Then shortly after that, basically kind of all hell breaks loose and children just start talking constantly.